Rand Paul is ugly? And the whole crowd was like, oh!
I am the machine.
You heard it here first.
It seems like the world is tired of comedians. The gestures of today have fallen off, as the children said. We're witnessing a sort of collapse of a bunch of different comedians who are online, whose audiences now are turning against them. We talked about one of these fellas a couple weeks ago. His name's Matt Rife. You've probably seen him before.
This is why the new extremely handsome comedian Matt Rife is uncancelable. Is Matt Rife's career over? Or has Matt Rife's career just begun? He's so handsome.
A lot of people love Matt Rife. I have a very particular style of comedian that I like a lot, and most of them are dead.
There's two reasons guys will hang themselves from the neck. One is, like we said, to escape this worthless masquerade of a life we pretend we have. And the second reason we hang ourselves from the neck is to whack off. These guys, I don't understand.
And some of y'all wasn't too keen on me talking a bit of shit. So today I'm gonna be talking a bit more shit. But I need you to know that I don't dislike anyone that's in this video. Not that it fucking matters, not that you should care, but I just figured I'd tell you. It's a collapse, all right? It's like that ocean thing, that little ship. Remember that little ship that went down the ocean and then it collapsed? It's like that, but with comedians who've made entire careers off a single joke.
We should bring the family. I bet she talks about like shopping and then they get here and I'm like, my pussy.
Or take their shirts off, or just shouldn't be comedians at all. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, you guys know who I'm talking about, I'm sure. What's up, f***ers? Can I say that? Welcome to a video that is sponsored by Sour.gg, my candy company. Today, I'm proposing a limited edition drop. The dog drop. We got Frankie Fruit. It's blueberry. We got Peavy Snack. It's blood orange. We got Kev's Candy. It's a mixture of raspberry and watermelon. It's not for dogs, if you even needed to know that. They can eat it, though. It's flour and sugar. We're very limited on supply and mental capacity, so please purchase as soon as possible. Sour.gg. Luckily, we're going to be doing a drop from now on every week, so everyone should have a chance to actually get in, and there's less than a week left on our gold ticket competition. So if you want a custom bag of candy with your idea and design, collaborated with me and Christina, come in, then you have a week to do that. All right, sign up to the email list, and yeah, thank you to my own company for sponsoring this video and all. On top of that, we'll be delving into some of these epic comedians who can dish it out but cannot take it. So when they make a joke at someone's expense, it's funny, and then when it comes back tenfold, it's not funny. It's an adage as old as time itself. It's a certain je ne sais quoi. It's Kafka-esque. Anyways, let's see why the internet has turned on some of these folks and see whether or not it's deserved. Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer is a comedian that has a terrible relationship with clothes. He takes his shirt off all the time, and he's never wearing a shirt, and he loves telling the same story. It's called the Machine Story, and I don't know if it's true or not. It's entertaining. It's you know, gotten less entertaining over the last decade, I'd say, of just hearing the same thing and seeing the same stuff.
All I knew how to say in their language was, I'm the machine!
The man is incredibly popular. One of the most popular comedians literally of all time. He sells out fucking arenas. It is very impressive, and it's impossible not to respect. Like I said, his comedy has gained notoriety for his outrageous stories, his shirtlessness, and his prolific drinking. He loves drinking prolifically.
You love to booze, don't you? You love to drink.
I do.
You booze till you snooze.
Dude, let me tell you something. I will never quit drinking. I will never quit drinking. I will always make sure that I can keep my body healthy enough so that I can always drink.
This guy would f alcohol if he could, but it's liquid. I guess you could freeze it. Oh wait, you can't.
Оп, Сань, смотри, какую тебе колбасу вытащил, блядь. Так, заебок, вермута я тебе насыпал.
And I bet he's tried too. You can freeze alcohol, but it's got to be really cold, right? Shit, I don't know. Shit, man, you can freeze liquid nitrogen. You can freeze CO2. How the f do they do that shit? Bert has been at it for a very long time. Since the late 90s, he first hit headlines back in 97 when he was in college for being a top partier at the #1 party school in the country. Now, coming from me, I don't think that's a very awesome thing. I was homeschooled, and I don't think I've ever been to a party at all.
Gay!
I'm one of the lamest human beings to have ever existed in history. Bert, on the other hand, is the life of the party. He would skip class because he wasn't there for education at the #1 party school in the country. He was there for the parties, guys. That Big Break article about Bert Kreischer was also the inspiration for the film National Lampoon's Van Wilder, which I think had Ryan Reynolds in it, I'm pretty sure.
My name is Van, and this is my home. I love this place.
His popularity is unrivaled.
So in essence, Ryan Reynolds was cast as Bert Kreischer.
In 1997, Rolling Stone magazine wrote an article about me calling me the #1 party animal in the country. That got optioned into a movie. Everyone takes their scripts, takes it other places. One of them takes it to National Lampoon. And they change my name, keep my friend's name in it, and then that becomes the movie Van Wilder.
Also, how about the fact that Ryan Reynolds has been in like no good movies, aside from that one Deadpool, which is pretty good.
It's just confusing. Is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist to not hit you?
Has he been in any good movies? I gotta look that shit up now. I can't think of any. He's good in movies, like he's a cool dude. Mississippi Grind, Adventureland, Buried, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, The Croods, A New Age, The Voices. I got voices in my head. Sometimes they talk to me. Sometimes I talk back and then they don't respond. And I feel extremely alone. If I was cool, who do you guys think would play me in a future movie? Who do you guys think would play me if there was a movie made about me? Probably Kurt Russell. Something like that. So the insane article dropped in 97, but what would ultimately net him copious amounts of attention would be him telling the story of the time in 1995.
I went to school at Florida State. I was not a very good student. I was there like 7 years. I was there in most of the 90s.
A time before the article was even written about him. A time when he went to Russia on a school trip. I assume college. I don't know.
So I took Russian 1, 2, 3, and 4, never learned a word. Think about what I'm saying. I took 2 years of a language, took 4 semesters of my college career, four semesters. Russian 4 was taught in Russian. Do you have any idea what it's like to go to a class and sit there like an immigrant at the DMV all day? Like.
A time when he befriended Russian gangsters by drinking heavily with them.
You gotta realize though, the reason they loved me is I went shot for shot with them that night, all night long, until like 4 in the morning. But all I knew how to say in their language was, I'm the machine! And I f cats.
And then calling himself the Machine.
I'm the machine!
And then saying that over and over and over.
I am the machine. I'm the machine! I'm the machine! I'm the machine! The machine. No one talks to the machine like that.
And then he helped the Russian mafia rob his classmates.
What matters to me is that I don't cheat on my wife because I've already had that conversation. Here's the problem. I never had that conversation about robbing trains. So when presented the opportunity, I thought I'd be like, not me. I'm gonna go back and work on my verbs. But apparently when presented the opportunity, I'm the guy that's like, let's start with my class.
The Machine. The Machine. Bert Kreischer even made a movie about the Machine story, and it was fucking terrible, by the way.
7 years ago, one incredible story blew up the internet.
When I was 22, I got involved with the Russian mafia. I was a frat boy on a class trip.
This is Igor. He's here for your protection. He is very dangerous. You are not to talk to or hang out with him.
All I want to do is hang out with him.
I did not speak Russian.
Yeah, machina.
Absolutely horrible. $20 million budget, only made $10 million box office. I assume he'll get his money back, but the movie's fucking ass. Critics loved it. You may wonder if Kreischer is such a popular stand-up comedian, why he hasn't done more television and movie acting. Well, the comic's pre-existing fans should find plenty to love, but anyone who goes in hoping for any kind of literary substance would be better off just reading the nutrition facts on their Junior Mints box. Yoch! Absolute dog water. Wouldn't trust the high crowd score one bit as someone who's consumed the Jerry Clicks content amongst other comedians in and out film for years. Yeah, I think that sounds terrible. That sounds absolutely horrible. Comedians aren't that good at making movies, it seems like, unless they're Jordan Peele. And even then that one Nope was fucking ass. I hated that movie so much.
Welcome to the Star Lasso Experience. Only at Jupiter's Claim. Please remember to avoid using your cell phones or any flash photography during the event.
Bear with us now. Trained animals can be unpredictable.
But Get Out was solid.
How long has this been going on, this thing? We hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died, I couldn't bear to let them go.
And that one where people are standing around looking at each other, they're like being replaced. That one was all right too. I did like the monkey scene in Nope, by the way.
No, Gordy, no! Get down, you sick!
The machine also had some star power as well. Mark Hamill from Star Wars. He was the father in the movie.
Give me some life advice, some words of wisdom. Everybody's got to die sometime. That's your advice?
It tried to expand on the mythos of the machine, but it fell flat, and you know, it's the same old shit. It'd basically be like if I tried to make a movie, I think. It just reiterated the machine story for the 15 millionth time.
I'm the machine!
Bert prides himself in his ability to drink and his comedy. He seems to be a bit of a narcissist, which is, you know, common amongst a lot of famous people, and that's just me sort of armchair psychoanalyzing him like a lot of people do, which means nothing. All this culminates together into a massive $20 million budget. Since then, not specifically since the movie, but of late, the internet seems to be turning on Bert Kreischer a bit. The overall response to his projects has gone from positive to negative. People cannot stand Bert Kreischer, specifically in the podcast Two Bears, One Cave, a project that he shares with Tom Segura, another comedian in the Rogan clique. By the way, I have to make it very clear, I've been watching Joe Rogan since 2011. I've watched basically every single episode up until the point of him going to Spotify, and then occasional episodes since then. He surrounds himself with a lot of really interesting people. I love the podcasts about hunting and shit like that. Other than that, the comedian podcast, not a huge fan of. I love Mark Norman.
Are you
married?
No, single.
Virgin?
Of course, yeah.
I can't imagine. I bet you'd be great in bed. You're ripped. You got the best hairline in podcasting.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried yet, so we'll have to see.
All right, well, let me know. Pretty big hog on you? Yeah, I could see you packing a crazy tool downtown.
I love Theo Vaughn.
We had this pedophile dude in our town, right? Big Richard.
You don't say.
He used to bait us all with autographed Shaquille O'Neal stuff.
I'm a fan of Bert Kreischer. I'm also a fan of Thomas Segura.
Every hotel check-in begins usually the same. It's standard. Hotels, the people at the desk, they go, last name? And this just happened to me. Last name? And I go, Segura. And the guy goes, whoa, are you Japanese?
And his wife, Christina Pazitsky.
I don't know why people marry people they hate. You can choose who you marry. This isn't India. Just... I love my husband. I laugh at his jokes. I think he's fantastic. And then all day, every day, I want to punch him in his dumb face.
But overall, I've kind of lost my original flame that cast out towards these people because of the stuff that's been going on with them and their like responses to, I don't know, it's such a strange thing. I'm sure they're all great people in real life. I have no fucking idea. Oh yeah, and Shane Gillis, by the way. I like Shane. Shane Gillis is really awesome.
He might add her straight as hell, dude. We fucking hate the environment. That's how straight we are.
If you go to the comment section on the newest episodes of Two Bears, One Cave, for one, a lot of the newer episodes don't even have them both together in them. It's most of the time just one guy interviewing some other random guy.
Great news. Bert is getting a transplant and a transfusion. Both.
Really?
Yeah, blood and bone marrow. As they said, it helps like with, he's got diabetes, he had renal failure.
Yes.
He's got some fluid in the brain, but all that stuff is going to be taken care of, hopefully. Shout out to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester.
They flew him out there.
So they have the best. He's like, I want the best.
Yeah,
he's like, I tour on a high level. I want the best.
I love that.
Sitting in for him across the great Stavros, everybody. Sexy
Hello,
Stavros
how we
is here.
doing?
And sometimes there's both of them in there, but whenever they're both in there, people are a little bit upset. The comments often commend Tom for not including Bert at all. He's quickly becoming known as one of the most overrated comedians of all time, along with being one of the most successful comedians of all time. So it's like, really, is it that big of a fucking deal? I have no idea. Bert not being in 69 Minutes was much needed move. Thank you, Tim. Bert not being in the 69-minute show is probably the best promo possible. Every time Bert isn't on Two Bears, One Cave, the world becomes a little bit better of a place. Yes, love it when Bert's not there. A break from his delusions is welcome. Wow, an actual conversation where Thomas gets to talk and be involved is very refreshing. Bert does love to talk about himself. Like, he really does. In another recent episode of Two Bears, One Cave, where Bert is actually there, he talks about people in recovery calling him an alcoholic, specifically Bobby Lee, another sometimes hated, sometimes loved comedian.
He's like, I've had two people like 2 guys in recovery that say to me, "You know, you're an alcoholic," and then I'm like, "I'm not drinking right now." Like, and they're like, "You're an alcoholic. You need to be in AA."
Recently?
Very recently, like a week ago.
Are they comics?
One is two are. Yeah, two are. One is Bobby Lee.
What'd you say to him?
There's no way to quantify to someone with real alcoholism and drug addiction. Like Bobby's like, I think Bobby would admit this.
Yeah, he's
like,
an addict. He knows.
He's an addict. He's an addict with like all of them are sex addicts.
A lot of people talk about Bert Kreischer's drinking problem. Even his friend Joseph Rogan.
Gotta get Bert on the Sober October train this year. We can't miss this one. He needs to get sober.
I'm down.
Because I want to see. I mean, he's so much more of a drunk than he's ever been before. Right? Wouldn't you agree?
He's out of control.
He's out of control.
He's literally an alcoholic. There's one time where I remember watching him talk about how he drinks a box of wine a day.
Bert drinks boxes of wine in an evening. And someone was trying to explain to me how many bottles of wine that is. How many 750 milliliter bottles are there in a 5-liter box of wine? It's 6 2/3. And if it's a 3-liter box of wine, it's 4 bottles. I bet he's drinking the 6 2/3 in a night.
And also he has like severe untreated high blood pressure, which is fucking crazy. He's also lost weight like 7 or 8 times and then gained it all back. Recently though, he's looked fucking good. He's taken a break from drinking and started posting on Facebook and Instagram about how he'd been off alcohol for 83 days and he's lost 40 pounds. That's great. He looks insane. It's awesome. But he's ending that streak because he's going on his fully loaded tour where he is literally compelled by contractual obligation to be an alcoholic. He even admitted on Two Bears One Cave that he only kept in shape to keep drinking, which is just, I mean, it's just kind of sad to be honest, but it makes sense. I mean, he's doing his thing.
It's like a shark attack victim going, you know, there's sharks out there. And you're like, no, I know you're missing your arm.
Yeah.
But I've been in the ocean and I've been okay a couple times.
I'm going to go back in.
I'm going to keep going back in.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy the ocean. I'm not going to stop surfing.
Yeah.
Like that's the only reason I got in shape is so I could keep drinking.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I got in shape.
Seriously?
The only reason I got in shape
was to keep drinking?
so that I could keep drinking. Yeah.
Also in the clip, he just cuts off Timothy and the comments, they hate Bert. They really do hate Bert.
I might be a delusional narcissist.
There you go.
I could be. Soft narcissist is what my wife calls me.
Soft?
Yeah, soft is that I just think about me.
People hate Bert. At least the podcast audience hates Bert. The intelligent audience seems to hate Bertram. I really love how Bert allows Tom to listen. Bert, how was Japan? It was great. Can I tell you my story about Mexico? Props to Bert for actually letting Tom talk about Japan for 2 minutes. That's one thing that Bert really that's the biggest thing that I'm bothered with about Bertram is just he just talks about stuff so much. He's always like trying to tell his own stories about stuff and just like interrupting people, especially when there's multiple comedians on Joe Rogan's podcast. It's like he can't let there be any sort of airtime, let alone 5 minutes of time in which something that doesn't involve him is being talked about. It's frustrating.
Do you have imposter syndrome?
Of course. If you don't, I am curious why.
I didn't say I don't.
Okay, yeah, of course I have it. Of
Why
course
is
I
it
have
so
it.
aggressive?
No,
tonight?
because
my answer was fairly calm.
No, but
right?
imposter syndrome
I was
is
just
kind
trying
of
to find out what he was feeling.
Imposter syndrome has been
the Japan point's wild. In this episode, you can actually tell how much Bert wants to talk about himself. So the people are onto something here, it seems like. In the episode, when they wrap up talking about Japan, Bert asks if he can tell his story now, which is awesome.
Japan was fucking awesome. Japan's an awesome place.
It's awesome. It's really great.
Go to Mexico. Can I tell my story now?
Yep.
Are you done?
He then immediately follows that request to comment up by saying how insufferable it is when podcast hosts interrupt each other. Not a lot of self-awareness from Bert Crumpler.
Listen to a podcast where dudes interrupt the guys the entire time, and it drove me fucking nuts.
No shit.
And I was like, God damn it, is this what Two Bears sounds like? So okay, go ahead. You were gonna say.
He's basically Boss Baby. He's basically a gigantic child. He seems like a guy that means well. Some of his comedy is pretty funny that I like a lot, but most of it is geared towards alcoholism.
It's like, try finding 10 people that are going to give me an intervention. I'm fun as fuck to party with.
And just a lot of partying, which I cannot relate to in any way. That being said, I still do enjoy listening to him talk sometimes.
Remember the Wu-Tang guy that cut his off?
No.
There was a guy on Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's like pretty broad. It's like being in the AARP. Like there's a lot.
You
of
mean
guys
one of
in
the
it.
main 9
No,
members.
one of the auxiliary.
Affiliates? Yeah.
Christ bearer, Wu-Tang Clan affiliate rapper who cut off his own penis in a drug-fueled mental breakdown.
Okay.
Because he said it was causing him a lot of problems.
I just hope he doesn't die. Nothing is funnier than Bert needing praise for asking someone a question about themselves. People hate Bert, even on his own podcast. So a little bit more on Bert's alleged drinking problems that he flaunts online. One time, Bert was talking about drinking with Brendan Schwab, specifically a time in which they were about to start Sober October. Joe Rogan was there. It was an epic podcast. And this is Joe Rogan's reaction when Bert told him he had 9 drinks a night. Not only 9, but 18, because each one was a double. That can't be good.
I have like 9 drinks a night. And you know Joe with his little like, I'm Karen eyes. Buddy, wait, hold on. Oh, you almost see him write you off in his eyes. Like, I can't with people that drink like that.
Because you're going to die anyway.
Yes, Tom Segura starts laughing and he goes, they're doubles. Joe goes, what?
So that's 18.
He goes, 18 drinks a night. 18 drinks a night. He has 18 drinks a night. And you watch Joe just. So then Joe said, we should go sober. We should do Sober October.
That's why he did this.
And then, yeah, of course.
To help you.
And then he said, he goes, hey man, you may need medical help to get off this.
On the same podcast, Bert was talking about at one point he promoted Tito's vodka so much and drank it so much and talked about it so much that he was upset that they never engaged with him back.
There's a part of me that sounds really cunty, but there was a part of me that I'd promoted Tito so much and I never got any love back from them.
Like, meaning, like, I was just gonna say, how do you not have a deal?
That's probably because he's gonna die from alcoholism, and they don't really want to be involved with that, because that'd be a bad look. That'd be like me promoting Sour Boys, my candy company, and then like dying from untreated diabetes or something like that. It's all about moderation and respect for yourself. Another little funny example, he cannot help but interrupt people in this podcast as well, which is even a little while ago.
Wait, let me ask you this.
I'm being dead serious.
Do you care about like?
I'm not a whiskey guy though. I like your whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm not a whiskey guy. It's like if you're gonna make an alcohol, what are you gonna make? I don't know. I mean, like the truth is, I enjoy whiskey, but like
the money's in tequila for you, Bert.
Then you can notice in that same pod, Brennan talks about him having his own alcohol. He brought up vodka. Bert gave him a wink. And lo and behold.
How do you not have a whiskey or a tequila?
I don't know.
Wait. So do you? Interesting.
I won't have a whiskey, respectfully.
They launched a vodka, 2 Bears, 1 Cave vodka. Our big announcement. I thought they were getting married or wife swapping or something like that. I have no fucking idea.
Bertrand and I are launching our very own vodka.
Yes. Pour Osos.
Pour Osos it is.
For bears.
I was excited though, but it was just alcohol. 2 Bears, 1 Cave, put out a big announcement. Pour Osos, alcohol, vodka.
Now today, although the majority of vodka drinkers prefer absolutely no taste whatsoever in their beverage, we are confident that people will enjoy the very slight creamy sweetness given to the tongue and palate from a serving of Crystal Head Triple Herkimer Diamond Filtered Newfoundland Deep Aquifer Pure Spirit Vodka.
Texas-made vodka. Wow.
Let's do a soft launch there just for the fans. We're going to have our vodka there for you to taste. We're going to have great fucking merch. I'm talking next level merch. Look over my left fucking shoulder.
That's very cool, man. Also, they got some next level merch, which is just shirts for the vodka. The announcement was terribly received, by the way, with an almost 3-to-1 ratio of dislikes to likes. 2 Bears, 1 infomercial. The more I watch this episode, the less I went to buy their vodka. And I'm a fan. Podcast Cringe summed this up perfectly. Save yourself an hour and just watch that. Pitching the pours on your new vodka for an hour is an interesting move. Can't wait to see how it goes. That's another thing. Tom refers to normal people as pours and has this whole big fucking beef with United Airlines or Delta. I can't remember which one.
Oh, but I'm struggling with rent this month. Figure it the fuck out, okay? Like, don't make my life be a problem for your life.
I might make a video on it's a whole rabbit hole. He's trying to better his relationship with the public, I think, but for a while, the whole doubling down thing didn't do. You shouldn't just call people poor because you're really successful and then pretend you're joking and then not, and it's not funny anymore at a certain point. I don't know. We might get into that though. If there's 5,000 dislikes, is that a good idea? Maybe that's a good idea. Ask for dislikes. It's kind of counterintuitive.
I agree. I think the washcloth is a poor person thing.
Because
I've only met poors who use them. I've never met.
Wait, but is it also European? Because I have European friends that do it as well.
Maybe they're poor. I don't know.
I don't know.
This comment puts it absolutely perfectly and echoes my feelings because I, am a very long-term fan of all of these people. Every single one of them. I have followed all of them, including Tim Dillon, dude. Even fucking Tim Dillon, but not Andrew Schultz. He's too much like a YouTuber, like me. Remember when this pod was about two friends laughing at each other and stories that Bert never let Tom finish? Between the ad reads and the ads, there isn't much left besides the ads and the ad reads. Ooh, that sucks, dude. It's a huge infomercial. It really is. That's what it turns into. It just turns into money. They don't want to do it. It's like a candle. It's a candle. It only burns for so long, guys. They have to maximize it. They have to maximize it. And I'm going to be doing that as well. Go to sour.gg and sign up with your email because there's probably no candy in stock because we sell out in fucking hours. So give us your email. And we have a couple really interesting flavors coming very soon. And we make it ourselves. We don't pour Osos and we don't co-manufacture. Literally, we make it. I could go right now and shit in the extruder and there could be shit in the candy if I wanted to. I'm not gonna do that, obviously, but I could if I wanted to. Another way to highlight this issue with Bert is the fact that the Two Bears, One Cave episodes that do not have Bert in them are received very, very, very well. For example, an episode with Tom and Stavros Halkias. I don't like saying his name.
Do you spray tan?
No, brother. This is Mediterranean skin right here.
That's
yeah.
A little bit of a teaser. Comments love that Bert's not there. Always relieved when there's a guest and no Bert involved. This is the real Two Bears. They do look like bears. Another example is with Colin Quinn, a fellow comedian and asshole friend of Adam Sandler. He always plays assholes in Adam Sandler movies.
Somebody fill up that jug with some boss water for the Hollywood kids.
I've got to say, guys, one of my favorite comedians of all time is genuinely Adam Sandler.
How about the times you wake up like 4:30 in the morning and you're like, God damn it, what am I doing up right now?
His comedy from the 90s, the CDs, my dad used to listen to those when I was a child.
My stay in New York was kind of weird. I had a cab driver acting peculiar. We were driving along, me and the cab driver, and he killed a dog on the way. He didn't hit the dog with a car, just got out and stabbed the dog.
And there's a song about a goat that's 7 minutes and 40 seconds long. I can sing the whole thing. I can recite the whole thing. And I haven't heard it in years. That's the kind of comedy that I like. That and Shane Gillis.
The point I'm trying to make is if you want to get rights in America, you just got to put together a good football team. You know what I mean?
And Norm Macdonald.
Imagine if you woke up and you realized you were wrong about everything. You just woke up and you go, God damn, I've been wrong about every single thing I've ever believed.
And Dave Chappelle.
Took half of the money from the show, thousands of dollars. I said, I'm going to give this to charity. You know what I did? I bought $25,000 worth of bubble gum and drove around Detroit and handed it out to the homeless so they could chew it and still be hungry.
And Damon Wayans, my favorite comedian. I fucking love Damon Wayans so much, dude.
Somebody else got mad, MC Hammer. I think we just been being playful, man. What Hammer getting mad for?
Comments are funny too. It's like Tom is going over resumes to hire a new co-host. That's hilarious. And you compare this ratio of likes and dislikes when Tom's not on and it's just Bert with a guest. Sorry. And it's still good, but it's not as good. They had this fella Jake Johnson on, and Jake told Bert that he lied with sincerity, which is a really epic way to say someone's a pathological liar.
Pickleball's killed more people than any sport in the world.
That's not true, Bert. You're making stuff up. You just lie with sincerity.
No, but I know two people that
Tom
died
told
after
you. Tom
pickleball.
told you. Know two people.
Matthew Perry and then this guy I was snowboarding with.
I've been a fan of Jake, but watching him deal with Bert and call out Bert's wild false facts is fantastic. Bert then does in this episode call himself out for interrupting Jake 50 fucking times, which is good. Maybe that's progress. I'm not sure.
7-footer just doesn't have the brain for competition. He's just a weirdo. We auditioned a bunch of people.
Do you know that fucking Bert stopped interrupting?
Interrupt.
Did you know that the majority of 7-footers don't? Because they've been famous since they were like in 5th grade. They've been famous. They're the tallest guy, and everyone goes up to him. It causes a lot of social anxiety with them.
Bert says he's trying hard not to interrupt, but then he just keeps flapping his gums after saying it. Dude can't help but flap. He can't help but fucking flap, bro. He's got flappers, big old flappers. Whether you love him or hate him, or you're somewhere in between like most people should be, it's clear that there's an audience of people that is turning against him, slowly and quickly, depending on the episode. It's for his laugh.
I've watched it 10 times. It's never not funny.
The just incessant drinking, the embellished stories and lies.
I got offered the role of a Jedi, and I turned it down.
Oh.
That's so fucking bullshit.
Wait, is that a real story?
Why you're lying? Look. What are you putting it to this guy for?
Yeah, he was there.
What? You were a Jedi.
I didn't take it. I didn't take the meeting. I didn't take the audition. I didn't take any of it.
Wow. Why would you do that? That's a fucking career.
Doesn't matter to me.
The constant interruptions that even King Joe has snapped at him for.
There's no benefit for Garth to go on the podcast.
Incorrect. Incorrect. First of all, they're very nice people. Both Tom and Christina are
Hold
very
on.
nice people,
I'm gonna be
and they'll be
devil's advocate.
very.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate.
Shut the fuck up for a second.
Or just his general narcissism. There's plenty of reasons, guys.
I just want people like when they're having a good time to go, oh man, I wish Bert was here. Just like, go, he would have made this so much more fun. Like, that's it. I don't need to cure anything or like fix anything. I just want people to be like, God, man, that would be great if Bert was here.
There's an expiration date on everything, including human life. I wonder if the expiration date on Bert's relationship with his fans draws near. I'm going to pull out my cock and swing it around. Next, we have Brendan Schaub. Brendan Schaub is a very tough guy. He used to be a UFC fighter for a while.
I just go out there and do what I do best, and that's fighting.
Comedian.
Doesn't have the best record, to be honest. Now, he's a funny guy. Super funny. He went from fighting in the UFC with moderate success.
Cut him off. Schaub pushes forward with a big combination.
Wild combination by Schaub.
Mitrione able to cover
of those shots. And there's the takedown attempt. He's got his hands clasped together. Boom, and he's got him down. Nicely done by Brendan Schaub.
To being a comedian.
One of the many things I love about the Mexican culture is, and I do love your culture, man. One of the many things I love about it is you guys always have something to celebrate. Every week you have something to celebrate. As a white person, my dad's like, only your birthday, motherfucker. I'm like,
having moderate success hosting podcasts and performing stand-up comedy. It's an interesting story. I used to kind of like Brendan Schaub. When he first started, I was like, oh, this is cool. This dude's, 2014. Fighter and the Kid, it's him and the smaller Joe Rogan guy. And then they're like talking and stuff. It's like, oh, this guy's a UFC fighter. That's pretty cool. I get to watch him fight. I love the UFC. That's awesome. I'm going to root for him. And then it's like, oh, he doesn't want to do it anymore. He actually is not that good at the UFC, according to Joe Rogan.
I worry about your commitment to fighting, and I worry about where you stand. Not your commitment to training. Not your commitment to training, not your commitment to give it your all. I think you have one foot out the door. I think you're looking. You disagree? Mm-hmm. I think you're looking at where the future is going to take you, and that you can't do this forever. And I think that's a very dangerous place to be in fighting. You think about the future. You also think about brain damage. You think about concussions. You think about how many you've already had, how many you got coming up, how much damage you're taking in training. When does damage start to show up in your life? Like when does it show up? And how much can you mitigate? And how far is it when you're too far? There's shit that other people can do that you can't do.
I was rooting for him when I saw that he was going to turn to comedy. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. This guy's funny for sure.
my demo, 18 to 36 bros. That's what I specialize in. It's a real cockfest usually at these things. I don't mind it though. I'm the bro whisperer. That's what they call me.
He's a funny guy. He can talk and he's interesting and he's handsome. He's got like little guy haircut, little guy energy, but he's really big and like just exaggerated. He looks like a caricature. It's weird.
That needle's not touching this fucking temple, daddy.
He went to comedy after a failed MMA career, or a moderately successful MMA career. Successful enough to get him to be friends with Joe Rogan and eventually get into comedy. So fucking way more successful than me. He no longer faced cop strangulation nor armbar, but instead he faced the judging eye of comedy enjoyers.
Oh, the other thing you should know about dating a Mexican, nobody told me this. There's me flaming hot Cheetos all over your house. They love them. They love them. It's like catnip for Mexicans. They love them.
And if you suck in comedy, you are fucked, and you're going to get roasted until the end of time. And specifically, if you suck, but you have friends that are really powerful and can get you stuff and exposure, and you don't deserve it, and people deem you not worthy, then you get really bad. You get really fucked. People hate this guy. Hey, but at least he doesn't have one of the worst received comedy specials of all time, right?
This whole vaccination stuff, I'm not anti-vax, man. I'm vaccinated, but it's all in their marketing. They this whole thing up in their marketing. Without Operation Warp Speed, when they launched that, remember they're trying to get everybody to get vaccinated? And they're like, yeah, go to Krispy Kreme, buy a dozen donuts, get vaccinated. Like, that makes sense. Fat people are like, hell yeah, this.
Ow. Maybe he does. That's embarrassing, dude. They're just homeless cats, dude. Don't worry about them, B.
I can't go through another lockdown. Straight up, the shop household barely made it through the last one. We eked our way out of that last one. We did not do well with it. Also, Dallas, my lockdown's different. I got a 5-year-old and 2-year-old. Parents know what I'm talking about. I would rather do anything else than be locked down with those fucking demons 24/7.
Here's some comments from the Gringo Poppy, one of the greatest stand-up specials of all time, with a 268,000 dislike to 42,000 like ratio. As an Irishman, I personally found this more depressing than the famine. Brendan Schaub is to comedy what Brendan Schaub is to MMA. I made my kid watch this when he was grounded as punishment for getting 2 Fs. He's now a straight A student and president of the student council. True story. His best joke is having us believe that there's more than 7 audience members and that there isn't a laugh track in the background. This isn't a comedy special, it's special comedy. On IMDb, which is a pretty relaxed review website in all honesty compared to the other review websites of things like art, which comedy is supposed to be, there is not a review above 1 out of 10. And that is fucking terrible, B. It is genuinely embarrassing. It's not even filtered from low to high. Those are the featured reviews. What the fuck? And this has to be a massive bummer because the poor guy, Brendan Schaub, left the UFC out of shame, I guess, out of just being absolutely lambasted by Joe Rogan live in front of a fucking couple million people. And now he's in comedy, and his comedy has been received even more poorly than his UFC career, which is just sad, man. It's just sad, man. There's multiple infamous moments like a decade ago in which Joe Rogan is talking about his failures in the UFC and how he's just gonna get severe brain damage and CT and not have a life, and he's got a kid and stuff, and he should take care of himself a little bit better.
Well, he was hitting you, but
100%.
You were flattened out. A lot of things look bad about that fight. You were lunging with like your punches instead of getting there with your footwork and then launching things from the proper distance. You were like really reaching and loading up. You looked very stiff. You looked very stiff. You didn't look fluid. It just didn't look good. It didn't look like you were well prepared.
And then there's the legendary one where he just talks about him being able to compete with top level fighters. Oh,
if I'm a guy who's a talent scout and I'm looking at potential world beaters, or I'm looking at guys who can fight at the elite level or guys who can fight for a world title, based on those performances, I would not say that you're there.
Then he retired from the UFC, and the reason that he gave was he doesn't want to be in a Reebok kit. That was during the massive Reebok kit deal. I don't know if you guys like the UFC. Fucking love the UFC. The Reebok kit shit, nonsensical, dumb as hell. Didn't make any sense.
The early days of MMA apparel was a Wild West. Rules were not enforced regarding what a fighter could wear in the cage, with most choosing to don traditional attire associated with their main discipline. In December 2014, the UFC announced the deal with sportswear firm Reebok to become the exclusive supplier of UFC merchandise, with the company introducing their new fight kits the following year. As part of the deal, UFC bosses terminated all fighter-arranged sponsorships, instead imposing a new funding model based on merch sales and a stipend based on their number of UFC fights.
But let's be real, Brendan Schaub didn't step away because of that. It's been a while since he retired from the UFC, and now Brandon is a big-time comic, and even 4 years ago, him and his best friend Joseph were laughing it up about the old memories of them having an extremely awkward intervention with one another. You'd be surprised the moment. Joe Rogan called him hilarious on podcasts, which I just don't. Schaub, I'm a great fighter. Joe, you're a terrible fighter. Schaub, one of the worst for sure. He didn't lose his cool though, which, I probably would have cried. To be honest, I would have cried if I just got fucking shit on by Joe Rogan like that live for all those people.
I'm so happy you're not fighting.
Brendan, I wish you'd have done that off air. Joe, I felt like there was no other way. Brendan, 100%. Schwab, I hope I never catch AIDS. Joe, I think it'd be cool to have AIDS. Schwab, definitely. I can't wait to catch it. Brendan, I'll keep fighting because I love the sport. Joe, I don't think you should fight anymore. Brendan, oh, you're so right, Joe. I'll stop now. I hate MMA. He's not really like a yes man, as these comments would lead you to believe, but he absolutely listens to everything that Joe Rogan says and just does whatever Joe Rogan says, and that's like that's the meme. It's been a meme for a very long time. He just will say something, and then Joe Rogan will immediately contradict him because he's a profound thinker, and then Brendan will then adopt that as his worldview. Joe and Brandon are obviously very close, and who am I to talk shit about two friends doing what's right for one another? Joe obviously felt the need to call him out and cared enough to step in with arms wide open, was open and honest and mean, literally just fucking cruel to him about his fighting ability, and it led him down a healthier path, I guess. Maybe not though, because all the incessant bullying. Being said, with Joe encouraging Brandon to do comedy, how come he has never been invited to the Comedy Megaship, the best comedy venue of all time, with the who's who cast of comedians on a consistent and regular basis?
That green room's great at the mothership, Joe.
It's fun, the whole club is gorgeous. There's nothing. It's so.
You just took everything that was great at the Comedy Store, and then we're like, I'm gonna move here. Yeah, make it a little better.
Why then, oh why, has Joe not invited him? Brendan has reportedly never performed there. I've never seen him talk about performing there. I've literally heard him talking about not being able to perform there because he's not good enough. And here's the clip for that.
You'll see in my comments, or maybe in yours on Red, like, oh, why aren't you playing the mothership, Brendan? I don't deserve to be there. And me and Rogan had this conversation. His special was insane. So I see that stuff. I see Tim Dillon. I see Mark Norman. Those are
Louis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, all these guys.
100%. 100%.
And that's the reason, because he's not good enough to perform there. So he has some level of self-awareness, which is good. And I don't know how good you have to be. I don't really understand people who want to do stand-up comedy. I don't like standing up or just like people and stuff. I really don't like any of that stuff. I'd rather just stay inside, lay down in a small ball over there. You're my Mark 13. It's strange, but not that strange, because Joe did say he was hilarious on podcasts. He didn't really say anything about his comedy. Man, the Gringo Poppy is just absolutely legendary. Pacing and giggling at himself. What the f? So weird.
Again, I got my UGG boots on. I got my Air 15. I got my Zero Dark 30 night vision on, right? Still got the big dick. Sorry. I'm fucking here. I gotta stick with it, right? So I'm here.
That's really good. That's so good, dude. Why exactly is he even doing comedy if it sucks and nobody loves it? The support must be there. Maybe his podcasts are doing extremely well. No, they're not. They're actually not. Fighter and the Kid's on nearly episode 1000.
This is really the Fighter and the Kid.
It's kind of fallen off. Brendan Schwab, not that good. Him and Brian Callen both been mega canceled before. There's not that healthy of a community. It really makes no sense. And the Fighter and the Kid subreddit genuinely is dedicated and has been dedicated from the very inception of it to just making fun specifically of Brian and Brendan. Really Brendan Schwab. Genuinely. They make fun of the way he speaks.
When are they going to remake Fear Factor?
They did
with
Ludacris, and he beat me out to be the host. You know, I was second in the line for it, and they hired Ludacris.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
They make fun of the fact that he's never played at the Comedy Megaship or whatever the fuck it's called.
Of theaters and comedy clubs. Thank God for curtains.
Yeah.
That's what I should have invested in.
The Richfield Playhouse, Richfield, Connecticut.
Tour that.
The Newton Theater. You're at the Newton Theater, Newton, New Jersey. Mystic Theater. You're doing theaters.
Yeah,
Real
small.
Theater. Golden State Theater. Comedy Mothership. I love it.
Yeah. Bunch of stuff out here. I got Austin, Houston, Dallas.
It's objectively funny knowing that this guy thinks Brandon is so bad he can never ever play at his club. What's this supposed to mean? Joe Rogan's a comedian.
I was 19 years old. I was driving this car. It was snowy as fuck. And this dude lost control of his car and he's sliding through an intersection. And in the middle of the slide, he took a sip of coffee. Straightened the ass end of his car out and got up on his merry way.
And he owns the Comedy Mothership. It's so fucking bad in here, and it's such a dog-eat-dog world in the Brendan Schwab community that a former disgruntled employee that looks like this, by the way, dude looks majestic as fuck. This fella hosted an AMA just lambasting Brendan and made all sorts of hilarious accusations and epic stuff. Here's a few highlights of the AMA. Would Brandon, head of his own media company, ever assist with production? Oh, Mark Harley, this guy said, Brandon contributes exactly zero to production. He can't edit, can't film, can't direct, can't light, can't do sound, can't coordinate talent. What would he do? He would spend 8 to 12 hours a week in studio each week and constantly silence anyone complaining about feeling exhausted by being on call for him 24/7. With some version of, oh, you want to compare schedules with me? This fella Mark even alleges that Brendan bought views for his Gringo Poppy special. You can't do that, Brendan. Come on, man. There's a lot of dislikes though, so it makes sense. Brendan bought views for Gringo Poppy to make it hit 1 million by a certain deadline. The only thing he cared about. A few 100,000 apparently. Rogan knows Brandon's a pathological liar. He wants to help Brandon see the truth and make the right moves, but he knows it's an uphill battle against Brandon's stubbornness and lack of reflection. As a fan of Brandon and the whole Joe Rogan comedy group, and a frequent viewer for an extended period of time, there are quite a few of them that just like to lie a lot. It's weird. Specifically, Brandon.
I go, oh, you know those are worse for you than cigarettes. Oh. And he goes, what the fuck you just say? I go, you know the vape's actually worse for you than cigarettes. He goes, who told you that? I'm like, oh, it's just what they say. He's like, who says that? I'm like, dude.
Wow.
He's like, my doctor says better. This is why he told me to start vaping. I'm like, but I don't think it is. And he's like, all right, man. And then just walked off. Never talked to him again. Wow. I ruined my relationship with Dave Chappelle. He wants to talk his comedy. He wants to talk about fighting. So we have this back and forth. And he was vaping. He goes, my doctor said these, he smoked cigarettes. He goes, my doctor said these are actually better for you. I go, they're not. He goes, how do you know? I go, fucking Google it, dude. They're not. He goes, really? I go, no, he fucking threw in the trash. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And Bert Kreischer.
Now, it's important to understand the distinction here. There are some comedians who make up or exaggerate stories who are very funny, like Theo Von. But with him, the punchline is never, look how awesome I am, or look how crazy my life is. It's more of a setup to something clever, which Bert's are almost always not. There's Theo Von lies to make things funny, and there's Brendan Schaub lies to make yourself look cool. A crazy story becomes less funny when you realize it's not true.
There's like compilations of them getting exposed for their lies, by the way, if you don't believe me. By the way, a good lie is that Brendan claimed he was the #2 pick to host the new Fear Factor, but they chose Ludacris instead.
When are they going to remake Fear Factor?
They did
Oh.
with Ludacris. And he
What?
beat me out to be the host. You know, I was second in the line for it, and they hired Ludacris.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Also, this fella, Mark Harley, isn't just some random guy that they hired. This is the big gay lion in the Thick Boy Studios. He's a legend. He had his own show. He ran socials too. He leaked a bunch of texts between him and Brendan as well, with daily check-ins and asking for dick juice and abusing Adderall, allegedly. But Brendan has admitted that he has abused Adderall on many occasions.
Bro, I was taking 3 30-milligram Adderalls a day for
You take 10? You take 10, you're fucked.
That's a lot.
You take 10,
That's
you're
a
fucked.
lot.
20 is a
I'm
lot.
embarrassed. But didn't Dave Portnoy say he'd take 30 when he was
being
here?
honest,
He would
Bubba.
take a 20, you said? Maybe?
Oh, okay. I took 3 throughout the day. And if I'd stand up, I'd take another.
Dude loves Adderall, allegedly.
Maximum dose a day is 30 milligrams a day. You were tripling that. Yes. I do 90 to 120. Oh my God.
Everything has been falling apart for Brendan for a long time now. It seems pretty bad. It's sad. He recently announced that he's ending his comedy tours. Essentially, he'll still be doing local shows, but won't be doing any travel. Oh
I'm gonna have
no.
to cancel Austin and Nashville. I'm gonna pull back from touring so much, and I just gotta be home, man. I got to. I can't miss Tigers games. Can't miss my Bosty growing up, baby girl. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
It's sad. It seems like he's, wants to be a family man, kind of YouTuber style. He's burnt out. He's tired of performing comedy, I guess. I really don't know. You got to really wonder what the true motivation is for canceling all the shows. Is it actually that he wants to be home with his family? Probably some of that, but also probably he's just not selling tickets for his tours. He's gotten in trouble for canceling shows before and gotten a bunch of heat for that because there just weren't enough people there. Makes sense. When you're not good, you won't sell. And the people do not think he is good. Also, people are mad because he's a pathological liar who said that his shows were canceled in San Francisco because the district attorney, but no other live events were affected. So people called him out, obviously. And it was because his show didn't sell, according to internet investigators and detectives, and also basic logic.
I had to reschedule my San Francisco dates this coming weekend because they recalled the district attorney and people aren't going out to clubs and restaurants. No one's coming to the city. So they wanted to push the dates till things are a little safer.
Just doubly on top of that, too, if you go to Ticketmaster, Brendan Schwab tickets, it's a lot of 1 stars, not good reviews. He's basically been blackballed because of his poor performance. Anyways, whatever you guys think, his reasoning for pulling back on all this and basically kind of slowly throwing in the towel with comedy is that he wants to spend time with his daughter. She had a big surgery. He wants to be home with his family, see his son named Tigers games, all those valid reasons, etc., etc. But, you know, it's also probably the fact that his comedy career has failed. You know, hopefully he's a good father when he's not cheating on the mother of his children, of course. Allegedly, I don't know. He quit fighting, he quit comedy. 3rd time's the charm. What's he gonna quit next? Bobby Lee and Andy Santino. The Bad Friends podcast is a podcast that I never really got into.
You two are bad friends.
Who are these 2 idiots?
A white dude and an Asian dude. You two are disgusting.
Well, you 2 are something.
We're bad friends.
It's one of those ones where not super interested. I listened to Andrew Santino on Joe Rogan's podcast probably 3 times before I even realized it was the same guy or knew who it was.
I'm gay, according to the internet. That's my favorite one. Look,
How'd you become gay?
Because I said on a post one time that I married Chris D'Elia, that we were like running away, and like a foreign publication got a hold of it. That like the English translation's hysterical.
What do you think the original language was?
I have
foreign.
no idea.
When it was foreign, was it foreign? Just foreign.
Just foreign.
Like
but it just says I'm gay. If you look it up,
Pakistani.
is Andrew Santino gay? It says a lot of things say I'm gay.
Congratulations.
Pretty funny guy. He's got a funny voice.
We like it when the fans have a bag because you never know what's going to happen.
The gifts are amazing.
Yeah, it's either like somebody hand drew a naked photo of my penis, or they'll.
Which we've gotten like 30
of those,
yeah,
right?
lot, for some reason.
Or like, you know, a letter of some sort, like you saved our lives.
Or
I
a
don't know,
dope
what the
piece
fuck?
of
How?
art. A dope
Oh yeah,
piece of
yeah,
art.
yeah.
But I know, but we appreciate
the
that. Fans so much. I really
and we throw it in the garbage.
They're both comedians. Bobby Lee, something happened in Tijuana. I don't really know. Anyways, Bobby and Andrew have a comedy podcast together called Bad Friends, and it's interesting. The set is really ugly, and they're pretty funny. They do a lot of funny stuff.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Thomas B. Jefferson the Adams III.
And I'm William Randolph Gaston.
Yes.
The first.
These fellas emphasize their great bond they have with one another, despite the name implying that they are bad friends. These 2 fellas are quite respected comedians. Bobby Lee, for example, has never had a comedy special. He's never posted a special, and he came on Joe Rogan's podcast for the first time just recently, and people are surprised. A lot of people really love Bobby Lee.
Nice hat. Bro, you should wear that all the time.
I know, I look cute with it.
Is that the famous wall?
That's the wall, yeah.
What did it feel like to be around that wall? That wall's old as fuck, right? How
Yeah.
old's that wall?
I put a note in it.
Wow.
You could write little letters. You know what I mean?
Letters to Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. And you put
Dear
it in there.
Jesus, when you come
I think mine was like, let me get more pussy or whatever. But
Nice.
yeah. But like,
I'm not so sure as much about Andrew Santino, but the clips of Bad Friends and the reaction of we're talking about something specific today. Okay. I see clips of their podcast all the time. Sunfire clip.
there's a Japanese X-Men called Sunfire.
Sunfire.
They don't say it like that.
Daddy, Why You Die clip.
Daddy, I love you. Daddy, why you die? Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Daddy, I can fly.
You heard it here first, clip.
You doing Asian accents, dude?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hurts my feelings.
Okay.
And I don't want you to do it anymore.
You heard it here first.
Eating dog clip.
What does dog taste like?
Apparently, it's the best meat in
Don't give me apparently.
I'm telling you right now.
Don't give me apparently. Just tell me what it tastes like.
It's real good.
And of course, the most popular clip, I'm Bobby Mom.
My mother's very pretty.
She's a beautiful woman.
Unlike your cross-eyed mother.
Well, you don't have to fucking get.
I'm not Bobby Mother. I'm Bobby Mom.
You're so fucking mean, dude.
They've had their fair share of offensive and controversial jokes on the show, but that's just part of being a comedian. You gotta push the boundaries of comedy. You have the jester's privilege. They got Asian eye jokes, you know, the old classics. Bobby Lee, I think, is Asian, so.
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Count to 3.
We're just kidding.
That's so racist.
I'm just kidding.
That's
I'm just
the
kidding.
racist thing I've ever heard.
That's the most racist thing you've ever heard?
When my eyes are obviously closed.
right? And then Chris
now
goes, looks
they're
at me
open.
and goes, close your eyes, right?
I can't tell.
You really couldn't tell?
Well, okay, close them now. Let me see. Oh, yeah, no, not really.
The main thing is, if you can dish it, you gotta be able to take it. When Lee and Santino first started the podcast, raised a bit of criticism because it looked like shit. It was kind of a weird, ugly set. People were mad. They said, give it some personality. It looked terrible. I mean, it really did look very bad. The colored cables were like the best part. This whole thing started beef, believe it or not. Somehow, people were upset that the podcast didn't look unique. It was just a cash grab, because that's what most podcasts are just literally cash grabs. They don't really put any effort in, and the shit looks terrible. One complaint from the Red Bar, another podcast, kind of went in deep. They took a look at Bad Friends and they said that it was a scam. It was low effort, and that's fucking hilarious to take seriously.
It's a scam. They don't put any effort into it, and it's all taking up your time. Okay, your time is worth more than this. And meanwhile, they get to go out and eat whatever they want tonight on your dollar.
And by the way, it's important to note that this Red Bar guy is a literal professional detractor and provocateur. What he does is just he's a hater. That's like his whole thing. And sometimes he's pretty funny. Most of the time he just says hilarious shit. And hilarious because it's ironic and there's like a lack of self-awareness.
Frankly, it's annoying. Whenever I listen to podcasts, I can't wait till they're done riffing and talking about something with legs.
Andrew's POV is that it's a beautiful brand new studio. It's incredible, man.
My anger today was because let's tell the crew real quick what's going on. Let's tell people that are here's the thing. When we came into this today, we worked so hard on putting this studio together. This is a brand new beautiful studio. It's incredible, okay?
This is a brand new beautiful studio. It's incredible.
I'm not so sure about that. It doesn't look good. It's definitely not beautiful. But Andrew just couldn't help himself. He read the comments on the podcast to see what people thought. Oh, God, he flipped his fucking shit, dude. He couldn't handle seeing people talk bad about the studio. This was his response to a comment on Twitter about Red Bar talking about their studio. We know. Report it, that clown. What? Come on. This is insane. The video only had like 10,000 views. It's crazy, dude. Who cares? What the fuck? It's funny because Andrew just flips his shit at Red Bar all the time. So this is like in character for him.
There's this guy named Red Bar. I love this. And he's just like a hater. But all he does is just trash all our friends. Like every comic we know.
Me, Santino.
Oh, Santino.
Hinchcliffe.
I think Santino's about to go there and just murder him.
They then made another episode on how they're handling the criticism, which proved him right, in all honesty.
Yes, report my video. Why? Look at this. Somebody sent this to him. Here's the screenshot. Somebody sends him the video, and he writes this. We know. Report it. Fuck that clown.
We know.
No. Report it. Fuck that clown. We know. Report it. Fuck that clown. Everybody. We know. Report it. Fuck that clown.
They said he couldn't handle criticism, and he handled it in the absolute worst way possible. I don't know if it's a bit. It could be a bit. It's probably a bit.
We couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe this gift that he handed us. I mean, what better way to explain to everybody that Mike's right
than this?
Than to do something like this. It's just remarkable. So we're sitting there and we're going,
spend any time online? That's what I'd like to know.
We're going, the whole point is that you're this shady guy who can't handle any criticism and how furious you get. That's our whole deal with you. And then you do this. We know. Report it. Fuck that clown.
Guy.
It's hard to tell on Twitter if something's real or not. I just don't feel like they would actually be upset. But this is a true thing that happened that people believe is a comedian or online comedians handling something very badly. I personally think it's probably just a joke. I cannot imagine taking anything that Red Bar says seriously, or anyone on the internet. Who the f cares? If you're like me and stupid, Red Bar comes to the aid and shows a clip of Bobby talking about how Andrew was indeed stirred up by the drama and was screaming at him.
He was psychologically attacked by some online trolls that attacked Bad Friends.
Yes.
Listen to this.
Oh, okay.
And that's enough.
Put him in a mood.
Right.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well, first,
Cheers.
Andrew Santino put me in a mood. He's screaming and all that stuff. You know how.
Andrew Santino was screaming!
So I don't know if it's a joke or not. It seems like it was a joke, but at the same time, like, it seems like it couldn't not be a joke to me. I just don't know. But it does actually get worse. Andrew Santino went on Joe Rogan's thing, his podcast, and started talking about the Office Space where they have Bad Fen podcast. And Joe asks, "What's with this shelf?" and asks who the designer is. And Andrew laughed it off, dude. And then Joe started to dig a little bit deeper and then asked why he has a producer who decorates. It's
What's with the shelf? Who's the designer?
This is half of the stuff we talk shit about it from our fans.
Well, who put that together?
The producer.
You have a producer that decorates?
No, we just told him to throw stuff on the wall.
Don't worry about it, Joe.
Just put up some shit on the wall.
Why don't you put some stuff on the wall?
Look at him. He won't look at Joe.
You can tell he's getting a little bit upset in that clip for sure. It's honestly really funny. I changed my mind. I don't think it's a joke. I think he's actually really upset by it. Or maybe it is just still funny. I don't know, guys. I'm not good with cues. All this blew over though over time, as you can probably imagine. They didn't give up. The podcast is doing insanely well, but Bobby Lee's brother decided to start a podcast called Good Friends, which is an exact copy of Bad Friends. Then Andrew Santino wanted to sue Bobby Lee's brother. They didn't want to bring it up in conversation, but according to Bobby, it was in fact true, which is wild.
When he came in, I said, "Dude, I love the show Good Friends." He goes, "Oh yeah, it's called Scissor Bros." I go, "Nah, I call it Good Friends." He goes, "I can't. Santino threatened to sue us if we called it Good Friends."
But this is according to my brother,
who's never told a lie.
What are you out of your mind?
They took the logo and used like the same artist and stuff, but it's not the same podcast. It's two different people. Who the cares, dude? How can you sue over that? It is insane.
See, this is what happened because that week, Bert, Tom,
keep drawing while you're talking.
Okay,
please.
Bert, Tom, and my brother and Santino, they did that. They swapped podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And so Jeremiah was brilliant in the fact that he's like, "Oh, we should do one," because it was April Fool's week, right?
But also the play on words. Your brother's show is called Bad Friends. You guys are nice in them. Good Friends make sense.
Yeah, but we took
also,
the logo. We took their logo. We used the same artist.
Was there discussion first about getting the logo or anything?
It's his brother.
I agree. Look, I agree.
But just according to Bobby, who knows, dude? And he's known for being truthful.
35.
Oh my God! Nobody won. We all went over.
Yeah.
No wonder they caught you immediately.
35. You think you're 35?
Don't get that's so rude the way you even said that.
Bobby, you're nowhere near. Google 35-year-old Korean guy.
Well, it's because that makes you younger than Andrew, which is
dude. You are a
Young.
cute little panda boy, but you are not 30. Look at how fucking hot 35-year-old Koreans are.
I never looked like that when I was 35.
Anyways, time goes by. They learn from their obvious mistakes and add a bunch of random, obnoxious shit to their walls, and it just gets crazy. And now people don't like that. You can't. It's a joke. It's funny. The internet's hilarious. The decor somehow gets worse every week. Impressive. Also, though, that does look like shit. I'm gonna be honest. The new desk's dope as fuck, though. I like it. So moving past the tensions of the first couple episodes, Bad Friends seems to be doing really well. Aside from the old Bobby Lee scared girl Tijuana story, which we don't. He's tried to clarify it and says that he feels bad about ever telling that bit and joke. He says it's a bit or joke. It's not one that I want to talk about on my channel particularly. You guys can look into it if you'd like, but we'll show him acknowledging it, I guess. And this clip of him and Theo Vaughn, super weird.
I don't really remember what she's wearing. I think she was wearing like a Hello Kitty shirt. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, then I'm not saying that that's sexually suggestive.
Yeah.
But first of all, why, for kids, you can't put them in something called Hello Kitty and not expect perverts to show up.
This is not a kid, man. This is an adult. Good.
It's just Theo Vaughn was uncomfortable in that. That's rare to get Theo Vaughn uncomfortable. Anyways, all in all, I think comedians are incredibly important, and I think the jester's privilege is one of the greatest things of all time. And also, I love being funny, or trying to at least, and humor is the most important thing that makes the world go round, and being able to laugh at yourself is super, super, super important. And even being able to take criticism and agree with it and find it funny, that you think of yourself in a way that a lot of other people don't think of you, and that in and of itself is funny to me. And anyways, I don't know what the I'm talking about. Big Chungus.